Welcome to another episode of the Madison Chamber Podcast. I'm Michelle Epling, president of the Madison Chamber of Commerce, and I'm here today with Kathy Mann. And our topic today is the secret of sales. And some people think it's just lucky, right? That you make sales when you say. Don't a lot of people think it's just luck?
I think a lot of people think it's luck, but we're not leprechauns and we're not green,
We're
right?
not.
So
They see
there is
luck.
no luck in sales.
No luck in sales. So let's talk a little bit for people that don't know, you're the broker owner of CK Mann Realty in Madison.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your business for those that maybe don't know the Kathy Mann like I do, and a little bit about how you got started and how there isn't luck when it comes to sales.
Great. Well, first of all, thank you for having me for this
You're welcome.
episode. And like you said, I'm Kathy Mann. I'm the broker and owner of Coldwell Bankers, CK Mann Realty. We are a franchise, but we're individually owned and operated. The office that we have in Madison, we've been there for 4 years. And I've been in real estate, actually made 20 years for me. I just celebrated 20 years in the business. And for me, real estate started out kind of as a hobby. My background, I was in the military, joined the military when I was 17, the Army Reserves, and then became a pediatric oncology nurse and a NICU nurse. And so every career that I've had has been service oriented, and I see real estate as no difference. No
And you've
different.
said that since day one. I've known you now
Yeah.
for almost 5 years, and you said that to me when I introduced myself as a new board member 4 years ago. That's exactly how you introduced
Yeah,
yourself.
and I honestly feel that way. Real estate doesn't feel like work to me. It's a passion. Not that it's easy. As we said before, it's a lot of hard work.
There's no luck to it.
There is no luck to it. No. I mean, there may be some, but for the most part, people, I think, see real estate as you write a contract. Well, you show a house,
To show house.
you write a contract, and you go to closing. And
You
there's
just magically move in.
and it just
You
happens. Right.
magically happens.
And
It's just so lucky. You're just so lucky. You just closed another contract, Kathy.
Yes, and so there's so many moving parts that go into that whole process.
Inspections.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
that's
So a lot of preparation that
but-
goes into it. Yeah.
Awesome. So you've had a really wonderfully rich background before you even started in real estate. How has maybe being in the military helped you kind of unlock what I would call the secret of sales? Going back to that service-oriented mindset. How did what you learned being in the military kind of teach you about that service above self kind of mentality?
I mean, I think it's something that I tell people, it's like one of those values, like integrity, you can't teach. You can teach a lot of things. You can teach people how to sell, but serving has to be something that's ingrained in you, I think. And I don't really see real estate. Of course, there's a sales aspect to it, but you're solving a problem
Yes.
for your clients. And so when you go in with that mindset that you're there to solve a problem for them, it's not about you. It's about getting to know and understand what their needs are. And if you can meet them there, then I think success will follow. So it's really understanding and knowing what the needs of your client is or are, what their needs
Absolutely.
are.
Yeah, and helping kind of going in with not what you're getting out of it, but
Yeah.
kind of what are their needs to begin with. What do you think the most common mistake people, whether you're B2B sales, whether you have customers because you're in personal real estate and commercial real estate. What do you think the number one mistake you see? Well, so when you have that new real estate agent, they pass that test and
Yes.
they know they're going to close $2 million in real estate and they're sitting in your office across that desk from you. What is the first thing you say to them to kind of set them up for success and maybe not make some mistakes you made, 20 years ago when you first got started?
I think it's important not to chase the sale. You want to build a strong foundation. You want to have systems in place, right? You want to know, number one, what are your goals? What are your sales goals? And then to put systems in place. What's your follow-up going to look like? Who's your ideal client? And how you're going to get to that success as opposed to just chasing a sale.
Absolutely. Let's talk about systems. I mean, so what kind of systems do you have in place now that looking back that you wish you had in place 20 years ago that truly has made a big difference in serving the customer first and not putting the sales first that you do, that you're willing to share?
I think it's important for agents to, again, understand what the needs of their clients, what their needs are. And for me as a new agent, the one thing that I wish I had really, and my first broker probably told me, but I may not have, it did stick, is building a strong database, right?
Yes.
You have to know who you're trying to serve and how to reach them, right?
Yes.
And so I think that's very, very important to make sure you have that strong database built.
And I think you're such a good leader in that. We've had many opportunities that have come open at the chamber, and you said, hey, we'd be glad to be part of that. That'd be perfect for my new agents to get out to build their network. What do you think when you think about a great sales conversation? So I know you don't lead with the sale, but if you are in the right moment, in the right time, what are some things, whether you're selling real estate or maybe you're selling printers or copiers or, in that B2B sales, what are some things that you just do naturally now to start that conversation and you're not sounding so salesy, but really kind of opens that door to help you kind of figure out where to go next?
It all goes back to curiosity and wanting to know what their needs are. I mean, really, how are you going to serve them if you don't know what they want? Because it's not about what you want and what you need. If you go into it with that mindset, how are you going to serve them properly? So I would think go in, ask questions. We live in a very educated community.
We do.
And so people want transparency.
Yes.
They want direct answers, and they want to make sure that you're competent and know what you're doing. So if you can show your value going into conversations like that, I think it's important to just really honestly find out what their needs are and to be able to meet them there.
Absolutely. And, this is a small town. If you sell them in a way that they're not happy, then they tell 5 people who tell 5 people that then say, don't do business with this person. I had a opportunity to come across the chamber desk yesterday, and I said, we're really not your best fit. You need to go to this the other chamber, given exactly what you're looking for. And I think he was very surprised I said that, but you've got to really understand your market and what you offer and be confident in your program of work to make sure that you're delivering on what that customer really needs. And I don't think a lot of people do that. I think they're so quick. But to me, a less than $500 member, that's not worth what he could say across the whole state of Alabama. She sold me something that doesn't fit my business.
Yeah.
And I think people don't realize how that will help you 5, 10, 15 years down the road.
That level of transparency, right? And being able to say, hey, I have a certain set of skills that I can offer you. This may be outside of my scope of service, but I have a great recommendation for you that may be able to, fit your needs. So yes, definitely being transparent in what you can provide a client is very important.
I think that is very important. Can you tell me a success story that kind of shows how your mindset and process kind of turned into something profitable, where you really decided, what, I'm going to change the way I think about X. And, I think a lot of times as business owners, we can sometimes be our own worst critic. You wake up every day as if almost like you're a failure, right? Like, I've never accomplished anything today. So what is something over the last 4 years? You're very well respected within the real estate industry. You've been named, was it Broker of the Year?
Broker of the Year, Realtor of the Year.
Realtor of the Year, yes, for the Realtor Association. So how do you keep that mindset? Because I've been around you, good days, bad days. You and I have helped remodel this entire chamber office. We've had a lot of conversations at a lot of different times a day. And you always have such a positive energy and mindset you put forth with everything. How do you get the Kathy? Like, how does that work? How do you do that, Kathy?
Wow. That's a great question. I just get up every morning and put one foot in front of the other and a lot of prayer, honestly. And I guess the wins that I enjoy is when I have an agent that comes to a one win example or story is when I have agents that come join my team and they've been at another brokerage for maybe a year and they haven't had the success that they've wanted. And they've come over and within a month or two, they have increased their sales by 30%. And so that makes me realize I'm doing something right as a broker, right? I'm always available. I answer my phone. A lot of people don't answer their phones these days.
They
So answer the phone. That's
I'm
very
a
important.
little worried. We've been filming this, and like my phone is in my office,
Yeah.
and I'm having like a twitch that I have not been able to like check to see if someone's
Yeah.
called in the last 2 hours.
So in sales, you have to answer your phone.
You do.
I mean, that's
You
important.
do.
That's important to be accessible and available. You set boundaries, but you still need to be accessible for your clients. And for me, my clients are, my buyers and sellers and the agents that are in my office. And on the other side, on the sales side with home ownership, home ownership is so important. I mean, it provides a sense of security. It helps you build generational wealth,
It does.
right?
Yes.
And so one of the things that I just love is, especially if I have a first-time home buyer, I think back to when I first sold had my first client and helped them get into a home, and they come back 10 years later and they realize, and they were afraid of home ownership, right? And they come back 10 years later, they build equity, they're on the road to creating generational wealth for their families. And so those are some of the stories that bring me great pride, because home ownership is so important. And for some people, for them, it seems out of reach. And so it's very rewarding when I can have clients like that and I can show them that, hey, you can do this and I'll be with you every step of the way to make sure you reach your goals.
Absolutely. I think you said something very important about how you love seeing those employees, your other realtors on your team come to you that they've increased sales, and growing people. I think is such an integral part of the secret to sales, because you're not only helping solve your clients' problems, but as a broker, you also get to lead and grow a team. So, what are some secrets that you have now uncovered in growing that team over the last 4 years as a broker that really you feel, has really helped elevate everyone? They say a rising tide lifts all boats. I always look forward to calling you, Kathy, because you always have a positive spin, no matter what I throw at you.
Yeah.
A positive spin on how we can solve that problem. So, kind of, what is that thing that you do to help grow the people within your team?
I think just to have a system, you have to and start out with your goals. Like, that's one of the first things we do in our one-on-ones. What do you want to achieve? Like, I can't want success for you more than you want it for yourself.
Did you hear that? Say that
So,
again, Kathy. I think that's very important.
yes.
So say that again. So if you're leading people, Kathy, what do they need to say to their people?
They need to have goals of where they want to be,
Yeah.
because I can't set your goals for you.
Correct.
And I can't want it for you more than you want it for yourself. So I
Absolutely.
think that's very important for us to start there. And then we move forward from there. What is it going to take you to reach that goal? What systems, what support, what resources do you need to be able to reach those goals? And so we have amazing technology within our Coldwell Banker system. There's a plethora of tools, which can be overwhelming for some agents. And I tell them that when we start out, that, hey, there is no way you're going to be overwhelmed if you try to do all of this. Let's focus on the top 3 tools or resources or technology that can help you make money.
Yes.
And, we start with those 3 tools, a CRM, which we have.
Right.
We have prospecting.
And CRM is a customer relationship management database.
Right.
For those that don't know that acronym, CRM is very important. Whether that could be as simple as an Excel spreadsheet.
It can be.
It can be. When I started at the chamber, one of our chamber members printed me these. This was our CRM system, 4 years ago. It's just a little pad, and I would write our list of members. I mean, it can be very simple.
It could be whatever you're going to use.
Whatever you're going to use.
Whatever you're going to use. So that's super important to start there. And then we go from there. We have check-ins quarterly. I have an open door policy. If you set up a one-on-one with me, we get that scheduled. And so that's where we start. That's the start.
I think that's so great. So kind of going back to thinking of, okay, give me a minute. So thinking of, you hit on it, that it's very important that so for example, Coldwell Banker, I'm sure, has training that you could sit and do 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, 300 a day, and still not get through all probably the online training they have available to you as agents, whether it's probably things you can listen to, online learning modules.
It's live learning modules that weekly we have live training.
Yeah, a lot of training. So I've always taught that, especially in sales, you can be busy or you can do actual work that's going to make you money, right? And so what are some things that you implement instantly for your salespeople, your realtors, to make sure they're not just staying busy? Because anyone can organize the files in their office, but that's not going to help them close or do the follow-up and the work and the number of calls that are needed
Right.
to be a successful realtor. So kind of what are those things that you coach them on and say, hey, as important as it is to keep good files in your office and, make sure
It's not going to make you money, right?
it's not going to
And
make
it's
you
not going to
money.
help you serve your client.
So what are those top 2 things you think that they
So time management is super important. You have to plan your time. For those who have challenges with time management, I start out like, hey, let's do a time diary. What are you spending your days doing? From the time you get up in the morning to the time you go to bed. What are you doing in a day?
because no one's telling them to do anything, really.
Right, they're independent contractors.
Yeah, so no one's saying, hey, you've got to hit 40 phone calls before noon. You kind of got to be, and I think a lot of sales positions are like that, right? Or entrepreneurs, people that run their own companies are like that. You have to motivate yourself. So
you definitely have to be. There's an element of self-motivation, right? And so time management is super important, and you have to plan your money making task for the day. You have to prospect.
They aren't fun. They're not the glamorous. They're not the Instagram shots, are they? They're not.
Right.
And so they're not the fun things.
Something as simple as, okay, today call 10 people in your sphere of influence. And if you're a new agent, call 10 people in your sphere of influence that may not know that you're in the business. Not trying to sell anything, just call, catch up. Hey, haven't talked to you in a while. And if you have past clients, just call and check in with them too. Just no agenda, just checking in.
I think that's so important. I have several realtor friends, and a couple times a year, they call me, and I look forward to their calls. I was like, oh, it's time for them to call me again, but they have done the work, and then you see the success they have. But they've also put in the time on the phone and heard so-and-so's getting divorced or so-and-so's, needs to sell their house.
Congratulations on whatever accomplishments that
they have.
Accomplishments that you've had. And so that's super important.
Would you say the phone is sometimes the hardest part of getting people over that hump of because we're such a text, we're Instagram, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, TikTok, would you say?
Yeah, it depends on the generation too. Like that's some generations, they just don't talk on the phone. That's just not something that they're used to doing, right? And so with sales, you just find your niche.
Yes.
Cold calling may not be your niche. It could be door knocking. It could be, now you can send text messages. Some people prefer to be communicate via text. So it really just finding your niche of what brings you success.
Absolutely.
It may not be.
But you have to do something.
You have to
still communicate with other humans.
Yes,
you can't just sit in your pretty office and rearrange your files and it just people just magically knock on your
fall out of this business falls out of the sky.
That does not.
You have to have a system of how you're gonna build your business.
Absolutely. I think of the song. My kids love the song right now. It's raining tacos. It's kind of like sales. Like tacos just don't fall out of the sky.
And some people feel, well, I don't want to be pushy or what, and you don't have to be. It just sales starts with a conversation.
It does.
It starts with a conversation about you have a problem. I'm here to help you. Solve that problem, and how can we do that together? And and I think, and you have to have the confidence in yourself that you have that skill set to help them solve that problem.
Absolutely. And people I've always said to me, oh, Michelle, you make sales look so easy. And it's like, if you put the two correct people together, at the end of the day, you're not making, it's just like on Facebook. You might say, hey, who does your hair? Or what foundation? What color is your lip gloss, Kathy? Like, that's not a sale to some people. But then you're going to say, hey, Michelle, I bought that lip gloss at the store and you should go buy it. I love it. It's this and that. That's sales too. And so everyone's in sales, whether you are behind a desk and you're a computer person or whatever, you have to be confident in what you're offering.
Making community connections.
That's right.
That's
way to use our mission statement here at the Madison Chamber. Kathy is on our board. and our mission is to create those community connections. But that's what sales is every day. When you
Yes.
connect the two correct people together, it does feel literally like kind of like magic. Like you feel like magic because then
Right.
it's not forced. I think where people get a bad rap, in my opinion, for salespeople is they are trying to
Pushy.
they're
Yeah.
pushy.
Can be pushy.
They're
Yeah.
pushing that thing that doesn't fit, and that is not how it naturally
Yeah, you can't sell someone something they don't need, and you have
and
to know what their needs are
you
in
do.
order to meet,
You do.
so you can't sell something to someone.
Yeah, and I think, anytime I sit down with one of our chamber of business, I'm like, "What are you looking for?"
Mm.
What's your ideal customer or prospect? Because and I tell them it might take 6 months, it might take a year, it might take me 5 years, but once I hear it, I'm gonna be like, "Oh, I remember Kathy said that's who she's looking for,"
Right.
and then you can transfer that referral. Um, what does follow-up really look like when it's done correctly? Because you can do a lot of different types of follow-up.
Mhm.
You can send them a text, you can send a thank you note, but when you think of like, "Man, that follow-up was done well by that realtor on my team," can you kinda tell me from a sales standpoint and as a manager of a team, like, what does that look like to you,
Okay.
that really define that?
So following up is really checking in, right? Checking in with them. It can be providing education. It just depends on where you are in the sales process. You're checking in. If you're in the middle of a sale, you want to stay on top of things, keeping them updated on what's going on. If just providing them information about the market, that's educating, right? And
Yes,
then just continue to nurture that relationship.
absolutely.
And so just touching that client's you have a set, I want to touch a client once a quarter, and
Absolutely,
deciding what that's going to look like. So
absolutely.
just
It
staying in
also
front of
lets the
them.
person know that you're not just one and done, right? Like, you
Yeah.
just weren't there for the sale of their home, and then you don't ever wanna talk to them
And that's
again.
key too. I think the National Association of Realtors did a survey that said 80% of real estate clients would use the same agent that they used previously, but because we may not do the best job of following up, that number decreased drastically
Yeah,
as to whether they actually go back and use the agent. So follow-up is very
very important.
important.
Absolutely.
And to me, it's important to know after a sale, hey, is everything okay? Just checking in, or is there anything that I can help you with? And so that part, just letting them know that you care. You really care, and this wasn't just about selling your home. I'm here. I'm your agent for life, and I'm here to assist you. Throughout this whole
Yeah.
process, and even after the sale.
Absolutely. How would being part of the Madison business community has helped you grow CK Man Realty? And what would you tell to someone that's maybe not involved in the Madison Chamber and is in a position that either wants to grow their business and or grow their people on their team that should be out in the community? How has being part of the Madison business community helped you?
So we've been in this community in North Alabama for 25 years in August. So we
Yeah,
moved here August of
that's gonna be a big ribbon cutting, I
it
hope.
is 20 well 20 my family has been here that long.
Okay.
And so I love that it's kind of a small intimate town.
It is.
And everyone's I guess accessible and approachable, from the mayor of the city
Yeah.
to the city officials to the superintendent of Madison City Schools. There are very personable
Yes.
people in our community. The leaders are, and the chamber has been you have done a phenomenal job
Thank you.
of making sure that every level of business owners can find a place and you've provided a service and a place for them to fit into our business community and with the chamber.
Absolutely.
Everyone from a startup
Yes.
to, a very small business to a, you know, multi-million-dollar corporation.
Absolutely.
There's something for everyone.
There is.
And I think you've done an amazing job curating that. There are small sponsorship packages if you want, and
Yeah,
then
we
get
start at 100.
at $100, and it allows you to get in front of people. So I just think the chamber has done an amazing job doing that.
What are some very simple things if you are opening a business, whether it's retail, restaurant, small business, maybe you're a B2B business and you're just going to rent a space for $1,000 a month that you see as someone that works in the commercial real estate space that you're like, don't be like Michelle and buy the cute Target doormat. So, like, what are those things that you think make a big difference in the commercial space that you wish people, 2 or 3 things that is kind of Kathy's best pearls of wisdom?
Yeah, and the doormat is not a liability. I just thought that a commercial mat would.
A commercial mat would look better. Yeah, she's probably right. And it is on our list of purchase. It is fun. Yeah, you're right. This is not a home.
Yeah,
And I think that's important. When you're running a business, you want this to look like a business
yeah,
and not someone's home. So
right.
I think that is a great point. So
I mean, you have to know what your needs are. Like, how long do you plan to stay in a location? How much space do you need? What types of services are you going to be providing? I know here we're, going to be opening up co-work space.
and you heard it here first. The
Yeah.
chamber will be launching this fall, our first ever co-working space. And we're so excited.
You have to.
And then it's going to be our podcast room. So this is going to be a room our members can rent out, actually. Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
Yeah. So I think that would be the first place to start. And of course, you got to know what your budget is. And commercial leasing is very different from residential leasing. And I'm not an attorney, so it's always good to have legal counsel when it comes to negotiating and making sure all your I's are dotted and T's are crossed in a commercial contract. So a leasing contract.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And definitely work with your commercial realtors. Someone like Kathy has been instrumental, even though she, poor thing, had to show me a million places. And
It wasn't that bad,
it
Michelle.
wasn't
That's that bad.
there was that one place with the rat that kind of stressed me out a little bit when it ran across my foot. Anyways, but let's talk about how do you think people's teams and employees can become better brand ambassadors in helping the secrets of sales? Like, what are some things your team now does naturally that really sets y'all apart as the CK Man Realty of Madison that maybe y'all didn't do 4 years ago?
I think it's important to build an internal culture. Like, what is your culture going to be for your business? And so we start there. We're a very service oriented team of real estate professionals. I make sure that you have to be competent.
I think that's important.
Yeah, well, very important.
You gotta be competent.
You gotta be competent, but sometimes I don't know.
Sometimes that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
They miss that mark.
And so just making sure you're honing your skills and you're staying on top of the market and what's going on in the real estate market. And I think if you do that, you create that internal culture, and hopefully your agents, when they go out into the community and they're working with their clients and they're representing your brand, that what you've curated or created within your office will show as they go out into the community as well. For example, I love it when, I run into a colleague and they say they work with one of my agents and what a wonderful experience it was.
The biggest compliment
That
you
is
can
a
get.
great compliment, yes. And also from clients, and you see the online reviews about the great work that they've done. They really advocated for the buyer or seller. And so I think that's important. Like you said, your team is your biggest cheerleader, right?
Absolutely.
And if they can say good things about you, that's great. And if you create that within your brand, I think that helps that shine within the community, and that's what people will see, and that's what they think about good things, and that your team is professional, and that, that's the first.
You mean they don't wear lucky sunglasses at
All right.
team meeting?
They're cute.
They're cute. So talk about a little bit about culture and service. Do y'all have any little internal traditions y'all do as a team to keep people motivated? Because you are in a sales business.
Right.
So do you bring a cake once you hit so many in sales? Or do y'all have, we actually had a plastic kangaroo from Outback that we gave out as our Madison favorite things. And people hide it throughout the office in our team. And so as you, maybe you need to take a break, you'll see my team members, going on literally a scavenger hunt to find the kangaroo, just to kind of, take a little mental break and, go change your mindset for a minute and literally go find a hopping kangaroo.
I haven't done anything like that. That's a great idea. But just incentives, just the recognition when they do something great. My agents who have, met their compliance, and just any opportunity I get to give them a shout out about things that they've done right. And a lot of the, even if they accomplish something in the community, we make sure we recognize that in our office meeting, on our company web Facebook page, and our social media and things like that. So just giving them a shout out whenever they've done something great. And I have little, some corny, like little stickers, motivation stickers that I, put on some of their things when they've done something great. Just give those
I
things
need to
like
get
that.
some
So
stickers. Yeah, add that to my list. I need some stickers.
yeah.
Really fun. All right. So to wrap it up, I want to ask just a couple more questions. What would you like? So, what is like the one thing that when you think of the secrets to sales and you got the glasses on and you think people think, I met Kathy very early on my chamber career, and Kathy invited me to the HAR gala. And I sat next to her. Her husband was at another table and they were announcing, was it Broker of the Year? And she goes, "Oh, it's not me. Don't worry about it." And then they called her name. I screamed so loud and I think I caused a scene.
That's funny.
But it was funny. But I was so proud of you. And you're just so humble in that. And so, what are some, words of wisdom that you would like to leave with the Madison business community that you wish, everybody could take with them every day to continue to celebrate Madison and make Madison continue to shine?
I think being an active participant in the community, I don't know, I can't remember who said this quote, like our rent on earth is, what we give back in community service, being able to serve and volunteer in the community. So I think that's super important, to find somewhere where you fit in and you can give back. And just if you're in a sales business, the first thing people have to know is that you care,
Yes.
right? You can be the smartest person in the world, but if you don't execute, if you don't work hard, and do those things, then, you may not have the success that you want. And I always say too, as far as you mentioned, salespeople, when they have a bad day, uh, just get up and start again tomorrow. If you fail,
Yeah.
don't be afraid of
Yeah.
failure. There was Nelson Mandela, I think, had a quote that said, don't applaud me for my successes. Applaud me for the number of times that I failed,
Yeah.
the number of times that I got up.
Absolutely.
So I
Absolutely.
think just get up every day and put your best foot forward and make today better than yesterday.
Yes, I agree. And I always tell new people, especially that join, whether it's the chamber or in a new sales role and they want to come meet with me, track your nose, put it on the fridge. Every time someone tells you no, I do that with my girls. And so we actually have on the, anytime someone tells me no, like they don't want to buy a sponsorship with the chamber, or they don't, I go home and they know how to clap about it because I want them to get used to, mommy might look perfect on social media or, what they see in the newspaper or magazines, but there's a lot of no's that people don't see behind the scenes to get you to Broker of the Year. Yeah, there's a lot of no's. There's a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of, I said the wrong thing to one of my, realtors because I was new in the leadership role and didn't realize I probably should have not been so harsh on that. That's all part of growing and learning and everything. All right. And then we are ending today's session with a fun little question.
Oh,
So,
okay.
all right. So tell me, and this is not on your list, Kathy, so you're going to have to come up with this one on your own. But part of the Madison Chamber is eating and shopping local here in and around the city of Madison. So if you were having, like we talked about, that bad day and you just wanted your comfort food from a local restaurant in Madison, where's Kathy eating? What is she getting? So we can all put that on our target list of things to eat and do when we need a little pep in our step. So where do you just love to go when you and your husband, you're like, let's go eat here? Or a big celebration. Maybe you closed the biggest loan in your career. Where are we eating in Madison?
So I'm not a big foodie, but I can answer this question.
You're not a foodie? Okay.
No, I'm not a foodie,
Okay.
but
Well, don't go on our foodie scavenger hunt.
but I love Main Street cafes, and I forget the name of the little dish that I order the same thing every
poulet?
day. Yes, the poulet.
Poulet.
I love that. And so I think that would be a place that I would go, Main Street Cafe.
Absolutely. Yeah. And they're now serving their cold fruit tea, and it's not the hot spiced tea. So Fun to have. And they're open for dinner now too. And have you been there for dinner yet?
Yes, I
Yeah,
have.
yeah, have a nice dinner as well. And they're opening the new coffee shop across the street. And it actually, this will air way later, but it's opening in June, and so we're really excited about
My office is across the street from Cliff Farm, so there's no lack of
it. There's
opportunity. One
not.
thing that I probably get, I forgot about this more than I should, is the smoothie playa, the
Oh, the smoothie
smoothie
bowl
place.
place. What do you
Yeah,
order at the Plaza?
it's the Pure Vita.
Pure Vita.
Pure Vita,
Okay.
and it is very good. Like, I could eat it like 3 days a week. I go there at least 3 times a week. So I did forget about that little place. I go there way too much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, guys, as you learned today, there is no secret to sales. It is a lot of hard work. It is service. It is caring about your customers. It is doing the follow up. And sometimes that's not the pretty glamorous part of running a business. Follow up is tedious, and it is important, but it's so important to really close the sales and really help you get to that next level that we all know you can reach here as a Madison business owner. So with that, Kathy, thank you so much for being on today. And we look forward to seeing your continued success. And thank you for your service in the Madison business community.
Thank you. Thank you so much.